The 10 interesting facts about angels. Number 10. The angel of death. The notion of an angel of death is found in multiple cultures and religions, representing the entity in charge of collecting souls at the end of their earthly life. In Islamic tradition, he is known as Azrael, who, according to the Quran and other texts, keeps track of each individual and knows the exact moment when the person must die. His intervention can inspire fear, as it symbolizes the cessation of physical existence, but it also gives hope, as he is seen as a companion who opens the door to eternity and divine judgment. In Judeo-Christian circles, while there is no explicit mention of a single angel of death, there is talk of angelic beings who carry out God's sentence. For example, in the story of the Jewish Passover, when the destroying angel passes through Egypt. For theology, these passages highlight divine sovereignty over life and death, and the concept that death is not the end, but the transition to another stage of existence. In this way, the angel of death, in any of its variants, reveals the sacred dimension of the end of earthly life, embodying both the justice of God and the certainty of the destiny that awaits every human being. Number 9. The presence of the angel of death. In the account of the Exodus, God orders the Israelites to mark the lintels and doorposts of their doors with the blood of a lamb so that the angel of death, passing through Egypt, will distinguish the houses of the chosen people and not take the lives of their firstborn. This episode, known as the first Passover, highlights an essential aspect of divine justice. It does not always act in an abstract or impersonal way, but can use heavenly messengers to execute a specific judgment. Hence the talk of an angel of death, or destroying angel, who punishes those who oppress the people of God. Throughout the history of biblical interpretation, this passage has given rise to reflections on the righteousness of God, who simultaneously shows mercy toward his own and harshness toward the oppressors. For some theologians, the exterminating angel does not represent divine cruelty so much as the consequence of the rejection of God's will, which turns against those who persist in injustice. Thus, the figure of the punishing angel serves the function of reminding us that the divine message entails responsibility and that the Pharaoh's arrogance precipitates the intervention of a celestial being who puts limits on human tyranny. Number 8. Angelic visitors in secret. The letter to the Hebrews, 13:2, invites hospitality, recalling that some, unwittingly, hosted angels. The most cited example is that of Abraham, who met 3 visitors in the oak grove of Mamre and later discovered that they were actually messengers of God. This teaching highlights the ability of angels to assume human appearance and blend in with ordinary people, without displaying, at least at first, obvious supernatural signs. The moral implication that stems from this belief is significant. You never know who might be in need of your help, and every act of kindness can become an opportunity to encounter the divine. In Jewish and Christian tradition, this passage has been extended as a call to humility and respect towards any person, as it could conceal an angelic presence that is observing the compassion of the human being. Thus, the concept of angelic visitors functions as a continuous reminder that heaven can manifest itself through the most everyday forms. Number 7. Marian apparitions and presence of angels. In various Marian apparitions recognized by the Catholic Church, such as those of Lourdes, Fatima, or Guadalupe, testimonies have been documented that indicate the presence of angels accompanying the Virgin. In some cases, visionaries report seeing luminous figures that precede or flank the Marian figure, referring to them as winged beings or radiant spirits. Their mission is interpreted as guarding and preparing the environment so that the Virgin's message is received without obstacles, protected from negative influences or profane curiosities. This phenomenon reinforces the idea that angels not only intervene in ancient biblical episodes, but also have an active role in more recent events that the Church considers divine manifestations. The function of guardianship implies that where there is a sacred encounter between the divine and humanity, angels act as guardians and servants, vigilant so that grace is poured out without interference. However, each Marian apparition has particularities, and the presence of angels around them often evokes the symbolic framework of a heaven that is permanently attentive and close to human history. Number 6. The Seven Seals and the Angels in the Apocalypse. The Book of Revelation describes a scenario in which the Lamb, symbol of Christ, breaks one by one the seven seals of a sealed book, unleashing events of great impact on earth. Each released seal triggers the intervention of angels and the appearance of horsemen and various portents. This passage illustrates how, in the apocalyptic conception, the realization of the divine plan for humanity involves the participation of angels, who blow trumpets, pour out bowls, or supervise cataclysms that purify and signal the imminence of a definitive judgment. The symbolism of the seals points to God's absolute control over the course of history, and the angels act as mediators who materialize the stages of that plan. Throughout the chapters, these celestial beings are described as announcing pestilences, wars, or cosmic phenomena, not with arbitrary cruelty, but as part of a process of purification and renewal. For many believers, this narrative, although enigmatic, reinforces the confidence that, despite the calamities, everything remains within the divine will, and the angels are in charge of orchestrating the changes that will lead to the creation of a new heaven and a new earth. Number 5. The angel who wrestled with Jacob. In Genesis, it is reported that Jacob, afraid of meeting his brother Esau, spends the night wrestling with a man until dawn. The nature of this opponent is ambiguous. Some texts and commentators describe him as an angel, while others think he could be God himself. The struggle culminates with Jacob being given the name Israel, which means he who wrestles with God, and with a wound in his hip that leaves him limping as a sign of the encounter. This episode is fascinating because it reveals an unusual facet of contact with the divine. It is not a message of peace or comfort, but an intense struggle in which Jacob refuses to let go of the stranger until he receives a blessing. Various theological interpretations see it as a metaphor for the life of faith, which sometimes involves fighting doubts, guilt, and fears before reaching spiritual maturity. If the being is an angel, how is it possible for a human to withstand a nighttime battle with a heavenly emissary? The most widely shared response suggests that the apparent equality in the struggle is God's way of inviting Jacob, and by extension, all of humanity, to persist in seeking and asking for blessings, even when it seems that all is lost. Number 4. The angelic interpretation of dreams. Genesis shows us Joseph, son of Jacob, interpreting dreams that change the course of Egyptian history, and in the New Testament, Joseph, Mary's husband, receives guidance from an angel in a dream to protect Jesus from Herod's intentions. These experiences reveal that, in the biblical framework, angels can use the dream mind as a channel to instruct, warn, or console. Dreams, then, would not be simple psychological processes, but a space in which the divine can break in a symbolic and direct way. In the Christian and Jewish tradition, the angel in dreams plays the role of an internal messenger, facilitating the understanding of a higher will or anticipating future events. This fits with the perspective that human beings, during sleep, are less distracted by everyday concerns, so their spiritual receptivity increases. For this reason, saints and mystics have taught us to pay attention to those dreams that evoke unusual depth, carefully discerning whether they really come from God or are a mere reflection of the unconscious. In any case, the biblical account emphasizes angelic intervention as a guarantor of the veracity and scope of certain dream revelations. Number 3. Angels guarding sacred relics. In the Middle Ages, there were many legends that told how angels protected relics of great religious value, such as the True Cross, the supposed cross where Jesus died, or the Holy Grail, the cup used at the Last Supper. There was talk of monasteries where monks claimed to see luminescences or hear angelic chants around these objects, interpreting them as signs of divine guardianship. In this way, the idea that angels not only protect people, but also the most powerful symbols of the Christian faith was reinforced. Some stories indicated that, when faced with threats of looting or destruction, an inexplicable glow scared away attackers, or that winged warriors appeared on the city walls defending the relics. Although it is difficult to corroborate such events historically, the persistence of these stories in popular tradition attests to the deep trust in supernatural protection. On a theological level, the belief that relics can carry a special presence of sanctity explains why angels would have a special interest in safeguarding them. That which embodies the memory of sacrifice or divine grace becomes a point of connection between the visible and the invisible, and therefore deserves exceptional protection. Number 2. Wings as a metaphor for the divine. Although the Bible describes some angels with expressions such as wings and multiple faces, especially in the prophetic books, no minute details are given about their actual appearance. Over time, Christian art adopted wings as a distinctive and emblematic feature, probably influenced by Greco-Roman representations of winged deities or genies. The symbolic utility of wings is undeniable. They indicate spiritual lightness, purity, and the ability to move between heaven and earth without physical barriers. Thus, Christian iconography, and later Renaissance iconography, popularized the figure of the winged angel as the visual definition of an ethereal being. This metaphor of the divine extended its influence to multiple fields. Literature, music, and film use the image of the winged angel as a synonym for hope, comfort, and transcendence. Even beyond religion, in cultural expressions there is talk of having wings as a sign of freedom and grace. For many believers, these wings are a visible way of understanding the love of God that reaches out to humanity, uniting the infinite with the finite. Number 1. The great mystery, the pure nature of angelic love. To conclude this account of the most impressive mysteries of angels, the notion that these beings exist solely to love and serve God stands out, reflecting a purity of intention alien to selfishness or vanity. While humans struggle between their own will and the divine, angels dwell in a perpetual state of obedience and devotion. This unconditional love is not passive, but leads them to fulfill missions of all kinds, from announcing miraculous births to waging cosmic battles against evil. The enigma lies in what it would be like to experience reality when one lives in a state of complete donation to the Creator. Do angels have feelings similar to humans, or does their perpetual joy transcend all earthly emotion? How do they balance their role as protectors and messengers with continual reverence for divinity? These questions reflect the metaphysical dimension of angelic love, a love that, by its very perfection, exceeds the limits of human understanding. For many believers, this quality is the key to their admiration for angels. The certainty that, behind each intervention, there is a pure and unconditional gesture that embodies the essence of divine love. Thank you for watching our video. Subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Give it a like, comment your thoughts, and share this video with your friends and family.